Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres, so join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw. Sean Liang is currently not with us. He has become part of the Videodrome, and he is part of the new flesh now.
Long live the new flesh.
Long live the new flesh. I am joined, however, by a good friend of the Kulturecast and one of the members of the band who provides the intro-outro music off of their album Sorrows, Eric Kniss from Wovoka.
What's up, everybody?
So we're going to be talking a little bit today about Videodrome, a film that both Eric and I hold in quite high regard. But before we get to Videodrome, Eric, have you been watching anything this week?
I've been combing through all of my favorite, like really messed up, like horror movies for Halloween and everything. And I've been kind of going through some of them with my roommates who haven't seen them. So the couple that I'll mention are Kill List.
It's okay.
I really like it. It's super weird.
It's Ben Wheatley's best movie.
Yeah. Although A Field in England, if you can get really, really stoned and watch that movie, it's a whole nother bag. It's awesome. But yeah, Kill List is great. I love Kill List. I watched it again, and nobody understood it, but I think that's part of like what makes that movie great is that it almost makes no sense, but like it's a multiple watch kind of movie.
It's almost like a more unintelligible Wicker Man, especially like the ending.
It's kind of like if the Wicker Man was a good movie.
Ooh, which Wicker Man? Are we talking the original or the new one?
No, the new one.
Oh, well, the new one is a good movie in the worst way.
I mean, you guys did the whole month where you were talking about, Nick Cage movies. And so when I saw that you guys were doing Wicker Man, I watched it and I fucking laughed my ass off the whole movie. It is awful. The worst but best movie ever.
Yeah.
It makes me want to, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say it makes me want to, but it makes me think that movie is like promoting like hilarious violence against women.
I mean, it sure feels like it.
And that, like, this might make me a bastard and a sick person, but that's like the funniest part of the movie to me is like when he just starts punching chicks in the face.
Well, it comes so far out of left field. You're like, oh, and now he's decking women.
Yeah. Oh, it's like
in a bear suit.
He just gets so mad to the point where he's like, fuck all these bitches. Just bah, bah, bah.
It's strange. It is completely out of left field.
Yeah.
You mentioned movies that are really, screwed up and totally out there. What is the most screwed up horror movie that you've seen?
That I've ever seen?
Yeah.
God. I went through like a really weird phase where I was watching like we're not even talking about horror movies anymore. Like these are like pseudo snuff films,
like Faces of Death.
Yeah, or like have you ever heard of like Slaughtered Vomit Dolls?
No.
Okay, yeah, don't ever watch it because it's terrible. But it's like stuff where it's like hyper realistic, like masochism and like throwing up and like self-induced vomiting and like cutting and all this weird shit. I don't know. Those are rough movies to watch. The other movie that I watched recently that I don't know if it's on Netflix or not. I don't think so. It's kind of a hard movie to find, but I have it. So I watched it on DVD or whatever. Was oh God, why does my brain stop working right now? The Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Oh my God.
I love that movie.
It's so good. Oh my God. It is. Well, first off, you don't own it on DVD because it's never been released.
Oh, maybe I watched it on my computer then.
That would be it. We did a huge podcast last year where we talked to the director and his brother, and then
that's right, yeah, and it's his wife
who plays the kidnapped woman.
The girl.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I watched that. And
it's like totally underground in the best way.
It's one of those movies where it's like I had no idea going into it what it was going to be, and then by the end of the movie I was like, damn,
how has no one else done that since then?
I don't know, but it's like I think we kind of have briefly touched on this before about like found footage movies, and I love found footage movies. If you can make a good found footage movie, I am all about it. Like the original Blair Witch is one of my favorite movies ever. The Poughkeepsie Tapes is like a semi-found footage movie, and that movie's amazing. Let's see. Oh, I recently watched. I'm not gonna fully recommend this movie. I mean, you can watch it; it's good, but it's not one of my favorites. Mockingbird. That one's on Netflix. That's kind of a found footage movie. It's by the director that did The Strangers. Which is why I really wanted to be into that movie, because I love The Strangers. I think that movie is fantastic. But yeah, it's a good movie, really interesting, really creepy. And then I don't know. The ending is kind of what kills it for me. I won't give it away, but yeah, those will be my 3 recommendations for this week.
I would, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Netflix is a terrible place to find good horror movies.
You know what? I agree, but
which is disappointing.
I just subscribed to Shudder, which is supposedly supposed to be way, way better, and it really isn't.
Well, let's be honest here. Shudder is all for horror movies. If none of them are good, you're saddled with a month of a thing that only is horror movies. At least Netflix, you could go and watch documentaries or anything else that Netflix has, which is like a ton of stuff.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. Shudder, like if you're gonna have horror movies, have stuff like the Poughkeepsie Tapes, have stuff like, have things that are really hard to find, that are hard to get a hold of, that like, you can't just have stuff that Netflix can't get their hands on. Like there are some stuff, they have a lot of really old horror movies, which is really cool. Like lots of like 70s grindhouse stuff and like original kind of like 60s monster movies, or like, even like sci-fi movies from like the 50s that are like all weird and cool. And those are fun to watch every once in a while. But like, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. I want to watch the newer horror movies that, got away from the campiness and got away from, like the grindhouse stuff. And I'm looking for the messed up movies that are gonna make me like not be able to sleep.
Right.
And they don't have a lot of that stuff, or it's like all stuff that I can see readily anywhere else, like on Netflix or rent it on iTunes or something like that. So I don't know. It's tough.
Well, and again, I've been reading about Shudder, and I didn't know anyone who had used it. So I'm a little disappointed to hear that it's not as good as they seem to be like saying.
Yeah,
obviously self-promotion is a big deal. So
of course, yeah. When it first came out, me and Cody, the other guitar player in Wovoka, both were super excited about it because like that's really all we ever watch is horror movies and everything like that. So we like shared an account, and I think after like 2 or 3 months or whatever, like we just let our thing lapse because we were like, oh, this is dumb. And so I waited, and it's probably been like a year, maybe 2 years since like it first came out, I guess. It can't be more than like 2 years old at this point.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So I just, like last weekend, I was like, oh, I have seen every horror movie that is worth watching on Netflix, and there's nothing new that like I want to watch, and I don't want to watch the same movies that I watch all the time. So I'm going to do Shudder. So I downloaded Shudder onto my Apple TV or whatever, and I combed through it, and there was like a handful of movies that I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I haven't seen this before. Or I haven't
Cannibal
seen this in a long
Holocaust.
time.
That's a thing.
Yeah, or like, oh, Ichi the Killer or shit like that. But I'm like, half of this stuff is on Netflix, and then the other half of it is stuff that like I don't know if I really want to watch it or care about watching it.
That's a bummer. Not surprising, but that's a bummer.
If they had more like the Netflix thing where they had a bunch of original content or they had more of the really hard to get a hold of stuff, I would be all about it. Like that's what they really need to set their whole like model up as. Like here's a lot of like really indie original horror things, that are going to go straight to Shudder. And then like get a hold of the stuff like the Poughkeepsie tapes and get a hold of I don't know. Get the weird snuff film stuff that's like really hard to watch, there's every once in a while I'll get a wild hair up my ass and I'll just be like, all right, I'm going to watch a Serbian film and I'm going to hate myself for like a week, but I'm going to do it.
A Serbian film. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We have mentioned it a number of times on this podcast. I don't know if we'll ever watch it for a podcast because I almost don't feel like endorsing that as a movie people should watch.
You've seen it though, right?
I've seen it 3 or 4 times.
Oh my God. Every time I watch it, I hate myself more than the first time I watched it.
It is unrelenting in its depravity.
Yeah, that was part of like my whole thing when I was going on a complete bender of just like, I'm going to just scour the internet for the most messed up movies I can find. So, in like 1 week, I would watch a Serbian film. I would watch Irreversible. I would watch, I watched all 3 of like the Slaughter Vomit Dolls movies, which are terrible. Oh, it's awful. Have you ever seen Salo?
Yeah.
That's
120 Days of Sodom.
Oh, that movie is rough too. But it's like, I don't know. It's a little easier because it's so old. There's like almost this like disconnect where it doesn't feel as real.
Right.
But that movie is when they're just like eating their own. I don't even want to talk about it.
Eating their own gross. Shit. It's great.
Yeah, it's really not awesome.
Yeah. But talking about the lack of good stuff to watch horror-wise on Netflix, I mean, I was scrolling through Netflix looking for stuff to suggest, and it's a lot of these like really like I have no problem with indie horror. I feel like indie horror is like the most exciting place in horror right now. Studios aren't making exciting horror movies unless you consider like Blumhouse, but I mean that's still pretty indie.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I mean, like, I just kept, like, I rewatched Wes Craven's New Nightmare because that movie's on there, and that movie's awesome.
Yeah, I did that too, like a couple days ago.
And then I rewatched Nightbreed because that movie is insane. And there are a few movies as insane as Nightbreed on Netflix.
Yeah. And it's stuff like, why isn't Videodrome on Shudder? Like, I get it if Netflix doesn't want to pick it up because it's really weird and it's really out there. But like, Shudder has scanners, but it doesn't have Videodrome. Like, why not? I don't know. Shudder, get your shit together. That's going to be my PSA for the day.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're completely right. It's a horror movie platform that doesn't seem to have anything super exciting.
Yeah, it's more of the same.
Yeah, I've seen American Werewolf in London a million times. I don't need to rewatch it. Mm-hmm. But it's not. I don't think editions like those are for people like us, anyways, that are like horror junkies.
Yeah, and
hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
And that's kind of what they're, projecting themselves as. They're like, if you're a horror maniac, you have to have Shudder. And I'm just like, no, you don't. Because if you're like me, you have all these crazy movies on like a hard drive or on your computer that you can just watch at any point. Right. And you probably have a crazier selection than any of these other places do.
Yeah. Well, then but that's kind of always the reality of all of this.
And like in the past couple of years, I've kind of let that sort of side of my movie collection lapse because of streaming and because of like, oh, I can just rent a movie on Apple TV, or I can buy a movie on iTunes, or, I can stream something that's on Netflix or Shudder or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I don't need to go through the hassle of searching for these movies and downloading them or, buying them off of, some weird website or Amazon or something like that. And like now I've become almost like dissatisfied to the point where I'm just like over it with like my selection that, I have. I'm like, I've watched everything
right
on Netflix that I care about. So I need something new. I need something different. So I don't know.
Well, and it does not sound like Shudder is that selection.
It hasn't been yet. And I think part of it is like the interface, like on their app, is just god awful. It's really bad. Like you can't search. Like I was having a hard time like combing through like their entire selection. I was like, just give me a page where it just has all of your movies and I can just comb through it for like an hour if I need to just go, oh, you have this movie. Like just give me everything you have in alphabetical order and I'll comb through it. But then they have like these weird curated selections, which are only like maybe 10 or 20 movies long. And I'm just thinking in my head of like 10 other movies that you could put in that curated selection that just aren't there. And I don't know if they're not on Shudder at all or if they're just not
in that selection. They probably couldn't get them.
Yeah, or like I can't search the movies that I need. Like I tried to search for a director and they just didn't have any of his movies, or like you just can't search by director. And that's a huge problem. Like in the insanely technological, age that we live in, like if your program or if your app is hard to use or not user friendly, I've had it for a week and I'm about ready to drop it because I'm fed up with trying to figure that shit out.
Well, and that's the other issue is if your interface is terrible. I mean, Netflix has an amazing interface. It's pretty straightforward, easy to use. So
yeah. And I mean, and granted, Netflix has had years to figure it out and to like, decide this is what people look for and this is how we're going to make this, accessible and things like that. But I don't know, man. I've really kind of just gone the direction of if it's on iTunes, I'll just rent it, or if I like it, I'll just buy it, So like,
yeah,
now I have a bunch of movies on iTunes that are actually available on Netflix, but I wanted to see them before they were on Netflix, so I just bought it or I rented it or something like that. Like, what is that movie that came out? I think it was earlier this year. The Invitation. When that came out, it came out on digital, I guess, like at the same time it went into theaters or right before it went into theaters. And I'd heard so many good things about it. I just bought it. It was like $10 and I was like, okay. And then literally 2 months later it was on Netflix and I was like, well, okay, I guess I didn't have to spend the $10, but
you're spending $10 on Netflix. So there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's a great movie. And I'm glad that Netflix has movies like that, but that's also like a more accessible movie than like some of the stuff that somebody like me or maybe you want to watch sometimes, Well,
I think that's the other issue is Netflix's selection of horror movies doesn't really, it's pretty safe. They don't really have a lot of really exciting stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The stuff that's a little bit too messed up or a little bit too realistic or
controversial.
Yeah. I mean, there's a handful of movies that I'm like, wow, okay, good job, Netflix, for carrying this movie. But for the most part, it's all pretty safe stuff. Yeah. We talked briefly about like underground horror and stuff and how the content that's coming out in horror is kind of lackluster recently. I did watch a movie this week that I really liked. It's called The Alchemist Cookbook.
Is it a horror movie?
Yeah, it is. It's a very psychological movie. It's about this guy who has basically separated himself from society, and he's in this trailer in the middle of the woods, like in Michigan or something. And he's basically trying to like commune with a demon so that he can create gold. And it's sort of about the unraveling of his mind, which is great. And I think it's definitely a slow burn movie, and the ending is a little bit on the iffy side, but as a whole, the way that movie was made and paced and everything, I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, it's like an hour and a half or something like that, so it's not super long, and it gets right into it too, which is nice.
Well, speaking of movies that get right into it, you want to talk about some Videodrome? Let's talk about some Videodrome.
Let's do it.
Film came out in 1983. It's directed and written by one of my favorite directors and a man from one of the greatest cities in the world, Toronto, Canada, Mr. David Cronenberg. It stars James Woods, Debbie Harry, and Jack Creeley, along with Mr. Leslie Carlson as Barry Convex. The IMDb synopsis for the film is: a sleazy cable TV programmer begins to see his life and the future of media spin out of control in a very unusual fashion when he acquires a new kind of programming for his station.
Why did you watch it, Max? Business reasons. Sure. What about the other reasons?
Max Renn is a victim.
I woke up with a headache.
He has been exposed to Videodrome.
I've been hallucinating for a while, ever since...
What?
Since I first saw Videodrome.
His brain is already receiving video images.
I think that massive doses of Videodrome signal will ultimately produce and control hallucination to the point that it will change human reality.
Soon, his visions will coalesce and become uncontrollable flesh. Videodrome is seducing Max Renn.
Please, come to me now. Come to Nikki.
And Max Renn can do nothing to stop it.
What makes you think I need help? None of our test subjects has returned to normality.
Television can change your mind. Videodrome will change your body.
Long live the new flesh.
It will shatter your reality. Videodrome, starring Deborah Harry and James Woods. A shocking new vision from the creator of Scanners. Coming soon to a theater near you from Universal Pictures.
Eric, I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. This movie is one of your favorite movies, as it is one of mine. What do you think of the film watching it again?
Oh, my God. Yeah, we kind of talked about it the other night, and we were talking about Cronenberg, and yeah, you were saying that this is probably your favorite Cronenberg, and I said, oh, what about The Fly? Oh, what about Scanners? You know, because I think The Fly has been one of mine for a really long time.
The Fly is a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece in a different way because of all the practical effects and everything that had to go into it.
Yeah. This movie, I think I might have to agree with you at this point that this might be my favorite Cronenberg movie, at least right now. Watching it again, I watched it last night at 3 a.m. And it's awesome. It's such a weird, surreal movie. Watching it, even I've seen the movie multiple times, and I was watching it last night just going, wait, what? Is this real, or is he dreaming this part? Or it's so well put together, and it's so well thought out, and it's so bonkers that it's great. It's wonderful. It's not for everybody. I'm sure there's tons of people who just don't get it or don't like it, but I love it.
Or think that it's maybe a little up its own ass a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I never got that from this movie.
It has something, all of Cronenberg's films have something to say and are trying to make a statement. Even, even if The Fly, The Fly is, but it's a tad heavy-handed, which I think, and I love The Fly, I really do, but some of it is heavy-handed, especially when he's talking about like bug politics and how bugs work versus humans. I mean, Videodrome is, of the Cronenberg films that I've seen, it is his most heavy-handed with a message. But I mean, the message is so on point for like, it's so applicable now. If you think about like the way society reacts to entertainment and news now, and like mind control and conspiracies, I mean, this movie is like right there in all of this right now, especially with the way people are like perceiving the media and how entertainment kind of shapes our minds and our reality. I mean, this movie is right in there. I love this movie. I mean, James Woods, fantastic. Everything about this movie is just great.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that, too, the whole time I was watching the movie last night, about, like you said, how applicable this movie is even now. And it's so weird how everything has come full circle. I mean, in, the 80s when this came out and like television programming, like, he's channel 83. And so that was when you had maybe 100 channels available to you, maybe. And maybe only 30 or 40 of them worked at any given time. And, it's like all public access and things like that. And now it's just like programming. We're inundated with it. It's everywhere. It's on your TV. It's on your PlayStation. It's on your phone. It's on Facebook. You can
always be watching TV anytime.
Legitimately, yeah. This is one of the few times where I have thought while watching a movie that I really, really liked, that a remake of this movie, especially now, if done properly, would be an amazing remake.
I was going to say the same thing. You're completely right. And what makes me love this movie so much is kind of, having been to Toronto where this movie, it takes place, and Cronenberg is from there. He went to the University of Toronto. He graduated. So he has a very like Canadian mindset when it comes to making films. Mm-hmm. The fact that this movie takes place in Toronto and all of the like the Videodrome station is the United States, like in the United States,
Pittsburgh,
right? And there it's like this, stay away from this, this American idea. And it's such a great way of approaching it, because you're right. If they remade this movie, I can guarantee you that all of that would be so much more played up. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause I mean, Canada, lower gun violence, all of that is like something that they tout and extol and are proud of. And then this, in this movie, you've got, rape and murder and these snuff films that are coming out of the United States that he's going to start putting on Canadian TV.
And so, I mean, and oh my God, there's just so many good correlations in this movie. Like even like in the way that, TV works now and everything like that. And even I resonated with it personally to the point like where, you're watching the main character and he's watching these things, he gets set up with like that, softcore, porn-ish type of stuff. And he's like, it's too tame. I need something with more teeth. And then he sees this thing that's just straight up torture and murder and things like that. And he's like, that's the kind of stuff that I want. That's the kind of stuff that I want to put out on my station. And I'm like, sometimes that's the stuff that I want. Sometimes I want to see stuff that's just hardcore and unrelenting and things like that. And it's, I don't know. This movie definitely resonates with me on a lot of levels.
But I mean, you're right. I can completely echo that. The movie really was ahead of its time with, really showing how easy it is to get desensitized to stuff.
Yeah, they say it in that interview that he's on, like in the beginning of the movie. What is it? What's her name's character? Nikki
Brand, who coincidentally burns herself with cigarettes. Get it? Nikki Brand.
Oh, I didn't get that until just now. She says something like, oh, we live in overstimulated times. She's like, I'm stimulated all the time. She's like, I'm stimulated right now. And I'm just sitting there in bed going, I'm about to stimulate myself.
And then James Woods' comment is, why are you wearing that red dress? You wear red for a specific reason.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's a very stimulating dress.
And then she doesn't understand like when he calls her on it.
Yeah. So I mean, I love how self-aware this movie is, and it's not like self-aware in like a cheeky, shitty, like I don't know.
No, it's
like smug way.
It's self-aware in the way that a lot of Cronenberg's films are.
Right. Exactly. And so you're right. This movie is really, really heavy-handed on its message. But I am totally okay with it the way that it was done. Like you can have a heavy-handed message that is still like the movie is still good.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of those.
And again, when you look at the way Cronenberg does things, the way that he does things in this film versus, say, The Fly or like other of his films, it really is more heavy-handed. But I think that's because what he is talking about in this movie is a much more interesting topic than The Fly. I mean, it's practically built into the film, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, and I mean, he wrote this movie too, so he didn't write The Fly. I mean, original idea for it. Anyways.
Yeah, he didn't write the original idea, but obviously, I mean, the original Fly is nothing like his version.
Right. But he sort of took an idea that he was like, this is a cool idea. I'm going to rewrite it so that it's a more modern take on this. This movie is completely out of his head, which it definitely comes across. If you watch the two movies back to back, which I didn't, but I've seen The Fly enough to know, this movie is definitely much more Cronenberg than The Fly, which is hard to do.
The Fly is about as Cronenberg as it gets with body horror and yeah. This movie really has a message that I feel like is they have to be heavy-handed, right?
Yeah. They almost beat you over the head with it several times in the movie. I mean, the whole thing about having the videotapes being shoved into his this body vagina.
Yeah, I still don't know what that is supposed to be.
I mean, it's like the whole thing. I kind of saw it as like a play on how we ingest our entertainment
through our vaginas. Through our chest vaginas.
Yeah, through our chest vaginas. Oh my God.
I mean, if you've never seen this film and you're listening to this podcast and you're wondering what we're talking about, there is literally a vagina on his chest.
It's a big throbbing vagina that they shove
guns
and weird expanding and contracting, like breathing videotapes.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with like the TV when he's like hallucinating and it starts to like blow up and breathe and stuff, and he just starts rubbing the TV. I'm just like, you could make this movie now and make it about not just your TV, but your phone, your computer. You could have it. You could almost do like a viral Videodrome remake of this movie, and it would, you could be as heavy-handed with that message as you wanted, and it would still come across, like this movie did for the 80s.
I agree. I love this movie so much that I don't want it to be remade, if that makes sense. But
yeah.
Of the Cronenberg films that I've watched, I feel like this is the one where I would be like, okay, I mean, I'm okay with this one being remade.
None of the other ones would translate. Like Scanners isn't going to translate. That is just a pure 80s movie that will only really exist in that era. I mean, there was a movie that just came out that was very Scanners-esque, and I read some review on it. I forget what the fuck it's called. I hate doing that, bringing up something and then not being able to actually tell you what it is. And there was a movie that came out recently that was like a psychological, psychokinetic type of movie, with all this horror stuff. And somebody said, oh, this is the sequel to Scanners that everybody's been waiting for. And I'm like, no, I don't want a sequel to Scanners. Scanners is a great movie that was perfect in its time. And I don't know if you could remake a movie like Scanners now and have it be the same movie. And the same thing with The Fly. You can't do that with The Fly. I don't want to see a Fly remake. But this movie, I don't know. I mean, I might have to just start writing up a treatment for the remake of Videodrome.
I think, when I think about this film and kind of the way that Cronenberg approached this film, he was trying to say something, and in doing so, he made it so it almost is timeless. And he got really ahead of the media and the way that we were consuming media. Like we've said, the way we're consuming media in the 80s is vastly different than the way we're consuming media now. I mean, media,
right, exactly.
Yeah, media is everywhere, and he kind of really beat that to the punch with the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie's 10 years ahead of its time. I mean, you know, you start looking into the culture of like people collecting VHS tapes and stuff like that. Like that doesn't really exist until later, until like the 90s. And while this movie isn't directly related to like that subculture of like, you know, media and everything like that, to me at least, you know, looking back on it, it sort of like hints at that kind of stuff, you know, like they have what is that called? In the movie, the place that they go and you have all the homeless people and everything, and they're just sitting there watching TVs.
Oh, the church, the cathode ray mission.
There you go. That's what it was. And at first, like when I was watching the movie again last night, I forgot that was a thing, and I was like, oh, why is he randomly going into, you know, like you know, this church or like this YMCA or whatever, so that like, is he looking for somebody or whatever? And then there's TVs everywhere, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. Yeah, the whole thing with Professor Oblivion, which I love it that it's O and then the apostrophe and then Oblivion.
That's my favorite part of the movie, is the character of Brian Oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, him interviewing on TV through a TV, which you find out later isn't even a live interview. He pre-taped it, but somehow all of his answers are perfectly timed, and he even leans over and like watches James Woods' character and the other like female character like talking amongst themselves. So like little things like that, I'm going like, how? I mean, none of it makes any sense, but like somehow I'm still completely okay with all of it. And I think that's what makes this movie awesome, is that you could do almost anything with this movie and it still is believable in the universe that Cronenberg created for this movie.
Well, that's the thing, is when you have a character like Brian Oblivion, who like you said, he's dead because he was Videodrome's first victim.
Right. And so Videodrome, created a brain tumor, which in turn killed him or whatever.
Yeah. And you have him as only existing in videotape form. So his like daughter is like piecing these interviews together.
I don't know. I don't think it's like that at all. I think
that's what I've always understood it to be.
I mean, I think it is like that, but then I also think that there's some sort of like, you know, how he was talking about the TV has become the retina of the mind. And so I have kind of taken the Brian like Oblivion character as like somewhat of like a prophet type of thing. Like he's kind of set up that way in the movie already. But the way that he can somehow create these videotapes before death and then be able to have them given to people after his death and have them be exactly what they need to be for each situation somehow magically, you know, I think at least his character believes, or his character did somehow get, you know, maybe like reach some other next level of like consciousness or something like that through Videodrome, through the TV.
I guess so. I always thought it was, that's a different way of looking at it. I always thought that she was like piecing these interviews together on her own, but maybe it is like through the consciousness of the
Videodrome.
That's much more exciting. That's a much more exciting idea.
I mean, because like her character is almost just like as I don't know, I don't want to say, it's like this weird like pseudo religious thing, you know, and she's kind of like this weird strange she sort of speaks in this like weird like aloof sort of way where she's like kind of speaking in like really vague about stuff that you're like, what the fuck are you even talking about? But then like in the context of what happens next, it makes complete sense. And so I think it's a sort of similar situation like with her father, only like to an extreme. Like he might even be able to have created these tapes knowing that in the future they would be used in such a specific way.
I think everything that like goes on with his character in the movie is like the most interesting and like question raising, because I had never thought about it as like him getting the information through Videodrome, but I think that that's ultimately much more of an interesting idea, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think like it's he's sort of creating this collective unconscious type of thing through the cathode ray
cathode ray mission.
Yeah, through the cathode ray missions. And it's crazy, I'm like thinking about all this stuff, and this is back when TVs were all tube TVs, so you had this huge box with like all these really ancient components, and they were still using vacuum tubes to power this stuff, which is insane. I don't know. I mean, it's just more reasons why I think you could remake this movie now and just go so deep with it and really just make it insane.
So we've talked about kind of the things that make this movie, interesting, the questions that it asks. What do you think of some of the performances in the film? Namely, James Wood and Debbie Harry, the lead singer of All Things Blondie, which I always thought was a real strange choice as the lead actress in the film.
You know what? I did not realize that that's who that was until you just said it out loud right now.
Really?
I guess I'm not a big Blondie fan. And the fact that she wasn't blonde wasn't helping my case either. So.
Well, that is fair enough. But yeah, that's the lead singer of Blondie.
Oh, shit.
Debbie Harry, yeah.
Now I know.
But she does a great job.
She does, actually. She's not in the movie a lot, but I think when her parts in the movie really kind of sell this whole like weird, atmosphere that he's created, because like she's into like the super weird, like kinky stuff, like when they get together for the first time and she's at his apartment and he throws on Videodrome or whatever. And the first thing she says is like, will you cut me a little bit, like right here? And he's like, kind of laughs it off. And then he goes, wait, really? Are you serious?
All right, Eric, skip it or watch it, and best performance.
You have to watch it. Watch it a lot of times.
You're going to have to.
Yeah. I watched this movie last night, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch it again right after we get off the phone. And I'm like making some lunch or something, because it's such a dense... But it's like strangely not dense. It's like conceptually dense, but the movie itself is very sparse. It's such a weird movie that like in order to even begin to wrap your head around it, like you're going to have to watch it multiple times.
Well, and because they removed that scene, the deleted scene where they talk about what the Videodrome is and how it came into being, I mean, it leaves it, more open to interpretation than if it had been there, obviously.
Exactly. And that ultimately makes it a much, much better movie, but it also then makes it so that you kind of have to develop your own sort of concepts behind what you really think is going on, because they don't really ever overtly tell you anything, which is, for some people, going to probably be frustrating and they won't get it and they probably won't like it. But then for other people like you and me, it's what makes this movie amazing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. That's my takeaway from this movie is that, I mean, there are a lot of people I know that I wouldn't suggest to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if Harold and Kumar is like your favorite movie, don't watch this movie.
There's no weed smoking in this movie.
Yeah, not even a little bit, which kind of sucks because it does take place in Canada. But, I mean,
true.
I don't know. There should be a lot of weed smoking on your part before you see this movie, but there's none in it.
It's true.
Best performance has got to be James Woods. He's so good in this movie. He makes this movie what it is. The way that he sort of portrays, his characters, sort of descent through this movie. I'm sure that you can have a great movie without James Woods in it, but I think that, it's a much better movie with him.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, it's a watch, before we started the podcast, I mentioned that I had kind of an interesting story about the second time I watched this movie. I remember sitting in my college dorm room, and this being on the student TV in like beginning of October. Wow. They were playing this film on the student-run channel at the University of Missouri in like beginning of October of my freshman year of college. That is insane to me.
Yeah, I don't think that would be allowed now.
Right? I mean, this kind of movie is insane. Like, this is not the kind of movie you show to, like, this is not the kind of movie you put on like your public access version of College Channel.
This is the kind of movie that you like have to like dig for or find. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen this movie on TV ever. I'm sure it's been on TV before, but like, I don't know. I think it feels like one of those movies that, like, you know, you kind of have to hunt for in order to watch.
Well, and it's on the Criterion Collection.
Okay.
Which the Criterion Collection version of the film is packaged in a box that looks like the Videodrome VHS.
Oh, dude, now I want one.
Yeah, it's really great. That is like one of my few like treasured DVDs that I still own that didn't get sold with a large majority of my DVDs as my Videodrome Blu-ray. But I mean, you have to watch it. You know, like we mentioned at the beginning, this is my favorite Cronenberg film, so it's a great film. Too. It's really a crazy movie, but it's a crazy movie in like a way that you keep wanting to like come back to it and rewatch it.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that like I could rewatch it multiple times and still like not be bored of this movie.
Yeah.
So,
and the way that it ends, you know, with it being an open ending and open to interpretation, and without that scene that kind of solidifies everything and how things happen, it's an open-ended movie, and that's really going to bother a lot of people. But you know what? I mean, if you're not into open-ended movies, yeah, this probably isn't for you, which is a shame because it's a great movie.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, somebody remake this movie.
I mean, they need to have something, because I feel like we are at a time now where Videodrome is more applicable than ever.
Oh yeah, this movie, I mean, we talked about it earlier, how this movie's ahead of its time. It's ahead of its time by 10 years, by 20 years, by 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, this movie has just aged so well. I think the concepts in this movie are timeless. I don't think this movie will ever be outdated as far as the concepts are concerned.
And it's a condemnation of the way that people in the 80s were, you know, consuming their media. Can you imagine if they did one now, where media is at like your fingertips 24/7?
Oh my God, you could just...
There's so many like different things you could do with Videodrome.
Oh yeah, Videodrome would be an all-encompassing, all-engulfing thing that would, I mean, especially now with the internet, I mean, God damn.
Yeah. It would be really a completely different idea. I feel like a sequel more than a remake, like a sequel, but it takes place like in the Videodrome world.
Yeah, like a reboot, you know, so that if you have never seen the original, you can watch the new one and still enjoy it. But if you watch the original and then watch the sequel or reboot together, then it gives you a more full picture of the whole story, of the whole universe that is Videodrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you ever, anybody listening to this, you want some ideas on how you can remake this movie, please
reach out to us, please. Yeah.
Hit us up on Twitter or whatever, and we've got gold for days.
And my best performance is definitely Jack Creeley as Professor Brian Oblivion. I mean, the fact that he is, you know, this is taking place inside of a TV because he may or may not, his consciousness may or may not be in the TV, or it's so strange and so unexplained that's my favorite part of the movie is the Brian Oblivion character. So yeah, I don't know. We could talk for 2 hours just about Brian Oblivion, to figure out what the fuck he's all about. Yeah, because his character and what he represents is kind of the key to the
whole movie.
Yeah, it really is. So, what do you think it has on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'll just go with my answer that I gave before, which was a 74, 70, mid-70s.
78%, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right on the dot. Visually audacious, disorienting, and just plain weird. Videodrome's musings on technology, entertainment, and politics still feel fresh today. I mean, it is weird, but I mean, like, being like, it's a weird movie, like, I mean, that's like such a small part of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen much weirder movies than this movie, because this movie has like a blatant and overt message that it is getting across the entire time. And so, yeah, the vessel for that message is super fucking weird and out there. But the message is pretty cut and dry. So, like, you know, if you pay half attention to this movie, you know what it's about.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about next week's Kulturecast, anything you want to plug about Wovoka, Mr. Kniss?
Yeah. We're playing a show this weekend up in Oakland, so it'll be Saturday the 22nd of October. So if you're listening to this and you live in the San Francisco or Oakland area, and you want to listen to some live Wovoka, I can guarantee that we are not playing Lament. Yeah.
Shocker. Absolute shocker.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we'll ever play that song. One day we'll figure out how to play that song live, and we'll play it for only you, Chris.
What you should do is when the band is like dissolving and you guys are like, this is our last show. If that ever happens, which hopefully it will never happen, that should be like your last song. And then like you just all burst into flames and disappear.
Yeah. No.
Satan
Long
reclaims
lives
you.
a new flesh.
Yeah, right. And then you like jam your guitars through your heads. Long live the new flesh. So
that's what we'll do. We'll pull out guitars from our chest vaginas and play that show. And then at the end of the show, we will turn into TVs and explode.
I would watch that. I would watch the shit out of that.
Oh my God, I would do that. Yeah, just that. We've got some new music maybe on the way soon. So keep a lookout for that eventually. We've got a few other shows coming up towards the end of the year. Check out our first record. It's called Sorrows. Our website is wovoka.bandcamp.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter sometimes. You can find me on Twitter. I'm new to Twitter. Well, I'm back on Twitter from being gone from Twitter.
Creeping on me.
Yeah. I got tired of Chris sending me really stupid pictures of his face on Snapchat, so I got on Twitter. So now I don't see it.
Cut me to the core.
Yes. So now I don't see any of those anymore, but I can still lurk on everybody on Twitter. Every once in a while, I write some musings about stupid shit. Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash. And if you like what you're listening to now, head on over to cultureshocked.com/Kulturecast to check out 100+ episodes of the Kulturecast. Patreon.com/culture_shocked is where you can go to give us a couple dollars so that we can keep the lights on our end. It's not free or cheap to keep quality content coming to you guys. So that would be great if you could help us out. Next week, we are going to be talking about Jason X.
Yeah.
And Let Us Pray. And we're going to have some interviews for Let Us Pray. Big thanks, as always, Eric, to you joining us to sit down and talk. I guess you're my guest. You're my co-host to talk Videodrome.
Oh, man, it was my pleasure. Anytime you want to work through some Cronenberg, just give me a holler.
I mean, we may have to redo a Fly podcast. How's that?
Oh, man, yeah, after doing this movie, yeah.
And, make sure to check out next week's Kulturecast.